pride and prestige. All these things come into play in statecraft, in political gamesmanship. So the ability to manage these differences is what defines a nation, what defines a system, either as a good or bad democracy. But institutions also matter, and our institutions are still growing. Don't forget that we spent a long time under the military, and you know what the military is. The military is a command and control system. In a democracy, it's rather civil. It's about engagement, about back and forth, agreement and disagreement. That process itself is like a school. It's like something that you progress into. It doesn't come or just on a day. You build it. You build that process, that level of understanding, for you to know that you cannot ride roughshod on people's interest. People's interest is about debates. It's about dialogue. Okay, so that's the process we're going into, that we're going through. And I think, like I said, it's a matter of time. It's work in progress. It cannot come just from the sky. It cannot drop from the sky. We have to continue to walk through it, walk at it. But in walking at it, the ball is most importantly in the course of our leaders. They need to know that they have a legacy to leave. Not just for the present generation, but for generations yet unborn. And like I said earlier on, we have some of them who are doing fantastically well, but we need a lot more of them that are that are still up the mark to join those who are doing well, so that we can have more of them working towards elevating us and raising us in the pedestal of growth and development as a nation.
Just for emphasis, Saza, you told us a few minutes ago that at about 2 p.m. elections should have been concluded in some locations, right?
Yes.
So now, if for emphasis sake, so that maybe people are not in violation of the Electoral Act as the process unfolds today in Kogi and Bayelsa states, what should we be doing as an electorate right now after voting and the process, or maybe to begin collation? For emphasis, what should we be doing now?
Well, the voter has two choices. One is to cast his or her vote and then go home to rest and go about their normal chores domestically, not perambulating, not going around the place. Or he or she may decide to wait and continue to observe the process. But if you decide that you must wait at a safe distance, you cannot crowd the polling unit, you cannot crowd the election officials, you cannot go too close to the cubicle where a person's secrecy of the vote is permitted, is guaranteed. If you compromise on the secrecy of the vote, anybody, INEC official, security, or ordinary voter, if you compromise on the secrecy of the vote, you can be arrested and prosecuted. So it's important we understand that. So if you decide to stay, you must give a parameter. There's a distance. They be guided by the INEC official or the security officials. You must keep a safe distance so that you don't obstruct the process, and quietly and in proper and orderly manner observe what is going on. You're not allowed to interject or to shout or to campaign or say all these slogans, or to be seen to be canvassing for votes for any person or the other. You must just maintain the distance and maintain your cool, maintain decorum in the polling unit, and wait until the results are announced. Because after the votes are cast, they'll be sorted out, they'll be counted, and as I said earlier, the results will be announced and pasted, and you can do anything you want to do. But not forgetting that those results must be taken to the RA or Ward Collation Center and collated. So your favorite party may win in your locality and in your polling unit, but that doesn't mean he has won the election. And it's not necessarily a trend as to the fact that in a neighboring polling unit he or she will win, and so on and so forth. You wait for the thing will be collated, and the collation centers are generally smaller. So the voter you're not allowed to move from your polling unit to the collation center. The security agents will be there. The political parties have their representatives there. The media, accredited media will be there, and accredited civil society organizations standing as observers will be there. So it's not for the voters to go there. You've cast your vote, you've seen your own result, that is okay. The results will be collated, and from the RA collation center, you take it to the local government collation center, and finally to the state collation center, where the result of the constituency is the whole state, is the government figure, will be announced, and that's all the determinant. And where after it's announced, if the candidate with the highest number of lawful votes makes the spread. In other words, if he has got 25% in at least 2/3 of the local governments, so out of 21 in Kogi, if he has 14 local governments, for example, then that person will be returned. But the return officer will now make a declaration, and it is his pronouncement, his declaration of a winner, that is the genuine official results. But the voter is entitled to remain in the process until elections, close of the elections and declaration results in his or her polling units.
Okay. At this point, intrigues, psychology plays out, and most often it brings an attrition between the security agencies and key players. Mostly, like he said, it's not enough that a candidate has been declared winner at a particular polling unit, means he has won the election, and people become agitated. So at this stage, if maybe you find yourself amongst persons by the plan of ground, what kind of security plan or what kind of attitude should we put on so that we don't avoid this kind of fisticuff between the electorate and the security architecture in place?
I mean, it's very easy. You see, this thing is very easy. It's being put on ground, and if you listen to him, these are in phases or stages. Usually, electorates are advised to keep a safe distance, a minimum of 300 meters. Once you want to defend your vote or you want to watch your vote count, you stay a minimum of 300 meters. And by the time the whole exercise in the particular, voting unit is completed, the result is written. Those who are supposed to sign, who are agents to the actors, they sign, and it's pasted on the board there. So your interest should be on the board or on the wall where it's pasted. Why the security will have to escort those who are legally authorized to carry this result to the next level. So there's no fiscal between security and the electorates, because this is the result of, or the outcome of your activities. You cast your vote, and this is the result, and you are seeing them do it, or you saw them doing it. So I'm not sure you should have any person to blame, talk less of coming to have a fiscal with the police. That is exactly why we've been talking about this political education, awareness creation, or sensitization of the people. If the people are actually, all these things have been done, and the man knows at what point his own right ends, because the end of your own freedom or right is the beginning of another's. Correct. So if you know that your own business is to cast your vote, and you have done it, and now you leave the counting to the officials who are authorized to do that. Whatever is the outcome of it is what has played out within this period of the voting. You have nothing to, you can't object to it. Like he said, that the fact that you made a good result here, it's not enough to suggest that when you go to point A or B, point B, the same person who had the highest number of votes here will still have it there. So, on the basis of that, during the time of, educating ourselves or, sensitizing ourselves, you have to wait to the end. So, you don't need to start a fight here. But actually, I don't rule it out that there will be some people who want to make noise. That is the essence of our, rule. And two, it's not that we cannot express everything here. First and foremost, let me just give you a little brief. The voting arena, we have the security. A distance from the voting arena we also have another strike force up to the point of the collation zones. So by the time they are leaving here, they are passing through some police locations to avoid people now attacking them or running after them. So there are different stages. I assure you of that.
Okay. Dr. Denny, you came with an expectation about these elections in the two states today.
Okay.
Have you been surprised by anyone? Expectation.
Expectation, right?
Yes, on an election day, what we used to expect before, maybe.
No, I think it's rather impressive, because that's what election should actually be. It's an expression of the inalienable rights of every citizen. It's a time for you to demonstrate your citizenship, to express it, to glory in it, to be happy in it, happy with it, and to want to once more emphasize your power or express your power, through voting, and we have seen it playing out in those two states. You can see the enthusiasm on the faces of people in the chaos, but the point is, yes, they are happy. Psychologically, you see them happy, but we need to see better looking citizens on queue in another 4 years through the instrumentality of the leaders that are going to elect, and how do we see this happen? By the time they get back into power, whoever is going to emerge in those two states should just get more serious with the business of government and be concerned about productivity and efficiency in government, and to try and, as much as possible, to meet the yearnings and aspirations of the people. That's the ultimate goal, really, and that's one essence of democracy. One key essence of democracy is about freedom to express, freedom to speak. But the other one, of course, is also happiness, and happiness comes through infrastructures and utilities, which can be reflected in the well-being of the people. But who are those that will bring this about? Again, we're coming back to that point again. It is the leaders, the leaders that will eventually be elected. So that's what we want to see.
We have had so much deployments, material, main, finance for this election. I know at the point Nnamdi, at one of the locations in Yenegua, was about to speak with some media officials on the field of elections. We lost signals. At your level, what's your impression so far about the media outage, starting with the NTA, and what you've heard so far?
Well, I think the media is not...
Because before now we get imaginary idea of what's happening, but we are seeing reel-to-reel, real-time pictures and impressions.
No, of course, the media is not doing badly. We're in an age of continuous revolution in communication, and this is just a stage. We're still going to see more, So if the media is taking advantage of this revolution in communication, it's not strange, it's something that we expect to happen. We cannot be lost in the communications map and in the evolution of, instruments of exchanging meanings, which communication equipment represent really. So it's okay that we are having real-time reports. It's okay that we're having live coverage around the locations, around the election venues. It's just not unexpected, really, especially of some traditional, salutary, influential traditional media like the public broadcasting and private stations, really. So the quality of production has actually increased, and that's what we want to see on a continuous basis. We know that there's a downside we are witnessing now, which is the convolutions of the social media. It's going to be expected, really. It's not strange. It's not something that we shouldn't expect. We have made the point severally that whenever there's a new invention, there are downsides to it. But what we can do as humans, as systems, and as a society is to find a way of adapting to it through the application of the law. Much as we can apply the laws of libel, the laws of slander, and even the so-called outdated laws of sedition on matters that relate to issues offline, we can also apply them to matters that relate to issues online. It's not sacrosanct. If you damage me online, it's as good as damaging my reputation offline. I can as well apply the law to you. So these laws have to be applied. We have more than enough laws to deal with these situations and adapt to these evolving circumstances. But in the meantime, it's okay to say that the media is keeping us informed, the media is keeping us educated, awareness is being created, and of course to some extent we are being entertained as well. So this is a good development, and I'm happy that as a system, as a society, we are keying into the revolution.
Now, within the ambit of the social responsibility of the media, what's your position regarding election coverage and national interests, given the fact that at times we realize that some of the sensational reports that come out are being orchestrated by some media outfits? What's your position?
Very well. We said it earlier that in any system and society there are differences. Even as women, we are completely different. We cannot all sleep with our heads and legs in one side of the bed. There will be differences. Some people, are mischievous, and that's why we have people, security agencies to help us deal with that. That's how it is. We call them closet nymphomaniacs. They will be there just to cause harm. That's how the world is structured. But you see, there's no system that is immaculate, that is sacrosanct. There will be bad eggs, there will be bad elements, but we have to continue to track them. The fact that they are bad elements does not mean that we shouldn't be celebratory, really. So, in terms of responsibility, that is the ordinary ideal expectation of the rational practitioner. But even within this matrix, you still see people who are irrational, and you still see crisis of interpretation, crisis of judgment. What is rational to you may not be rational to me, and that's what we're seeing, really. And you can't really take that away. But in terms of responsibility, we are not more. The traditional media are there to help us, really. Social media may be misbehaving, not all of them anyway, but the traditional media is there to give us the correct version of things, and that's what we need at some point in our society, in our country. We need some level of media education, media literacy, to conscientize people to the new realities of the media generally, to let people know that it's not everything that you read in the media that you believe, especially in the social media, that you take hook, like, and sinker. You must be much more discerning. You must be much more deciphering, so that you not let people damage your psychology, and that will end up rubbing off on the society as a whole.
Okay, so it's past 2 p.m. and we expect that by the Electoral Act, all things being equal, if the election started at the same time at all locations, we would have said elections are over in most centers now. And if elections did not start at the exact time, is it cast in stone that elections must end at 2 p.m.? So far, for areas it didn't start on time, and for areas it has ended. Have you had an update so far from Bayelsa and Kogi whether elections have been completed in some centers?
Thank you, Amino. Just to, for purposes of emphasis, I think I said this earlier, but for purposes of emphasis, where elections don't start on time, they would, for a few places don't start on time, there will be a sufficient time given to the electorate to exercise their franchise, certainly. Yes, I have heard reports of so many places where the elections have now finished, because it's well in good time, and they have now at 2 p.m. concluded the process of accreditation and voting. So commencement of sorting and counting. Sorting is a bit where you now bring out the valid ballots from the invalid ballots, and you also bring out each party, what did each party score. So if it's X party, you pile up the votes cast for that X party, Y party, the same, Z party, the same thing, so that it's sorted out. Then you now start the process of counting. And when you finish counting, now you now enter the scores into the result sheet, what we call the EC8A, and that's the polling unit result sheet. And then when you conclude that, you ask the party agents present who wish to sign the result sheets. The fact that they don't sign, if they choose, maybe they saw that their party didn't do as well as they had expected, even if they don't sign, does not invalidate that result sheet. The presiding officer will now fill the people's result sheet and paste that one, while it gives the police officer and the party agents copies of result sheets, and then takes the original with the materials onto the RA collation, the ward collation center.
So, in simple terms, you don't have an update of the number of places where it has been concluded right now in Bayelsa, and
we're not counting the number of places. We'll count that one when they get to the RA collation center. So immediately you finish, just go to the RA collation center. Nobody has the figures of that. And by the way, it's not an electoral act. Time for the closure of the polls is not an electoral act. It's part of the INEC guidelines, which is made pursuant to its powers in the Constitutional and Electoral Act to make those guidelines. So anybody rushing to look at the electoral act will not find that polls must close at 2 p.m. will not find that it's a guidelines.
We still look forward to the day elections will hold, and on that same day elections are concluded. Will it be surprised, or will it be a big surprise to us Nigerians that this whole process can end shortly, maybe before 12 midnight today? Because given the fact that in Kogi, for instance, we are looking at the voter population of about 1,646,350,000 and 239 registration areas and about 2,548 polling units. Then in Bayelsa State, we're looking at a voter population of 923, 182, polling unit 1,804, and about 105 registration areas. Can the election be concluded maybe just before 12 midnight?
Well, I can answer that yes or no, but you are using statistics that tell one story but doesn't tell the whole story.
Okay.
So we are doing a quantitative analysis without doing a qualitative analysis. It's important that people do a qualitative analysis as well as a quantitative. So it's not so much the numbers of people or number of registered voters that will determine how soon the election will end. There are a lot of variables. First of all, you take Bayelsa, only 920, the smallest state in terms of population, but probably the state with the most difficult terrain. It can take you 3 hours using a speedboat to get from some polling units to the local government headquarters, and from there they must collate in the ward, collate in the local government, and then take those things to Yenagoa, which might be 3-4 hours again by speedboat, by the fastest means on water to the thing. So these are the logistical challenges we must take, and that's the qualitative analysis, part of the qualitative I'm talking about. Again, if everything goes smoothly, there are times that people say, no, recount these votes. That will now take time, because they have a right, and any polling agent has a right to demand a recount of the votes in the polling unit. So if in polling unit A with 500 people might just go smoothly, but putting in B with 100 might take twice as long as the first. That's the qualitative analysis. So these are some of the variables. And again, the Electoral Act has outlined how collation and transmission of results should be done, and it's done manually. So if there was technology makes things easier, it makes things faster, then you may be talking of concluding things in good time. Now, we give putting in results to all the political parties. So at the end of the day, in a few hours' time, each party or candidate has, and they'll have the situation rooms, has a fair idea how well they have done. In other climes, when they see they've not done so well, the phone call does it, or an announcement, I congratulate my opponent, he has won the election. Even long before the official results is announced. It happens a great deal in the US. We'll say, well, we're watching CNN and this thing is done. But that's not the official result. Because then you go to electoral college, and then it could take a few days for the official announcement of the results. So when people compare things, sometimes they're comparing cheese and apples. They're not comparing the legal systems that they have with our own, and they think the election is over. If, for example, at the end of the day, candidate A or all the other candidates congratulate one person in Kogi or Bayelsa, say, you won the election, it will be taken and it will be jubilating that he has won the election. But that still is not the official result. You probably have to wait for the official result. So it's important to have this clarification. And also, when we're analyzing things, we have to analyze in this way. Terrain, Bayelsa, not just Bayelsa, there are riverine terrains in Kogi State. Kogi is called the confluence state. It's not for nothing. Because the two great rivers confluence there, and they have tributaries, they have islands, they have waterways, and they have mountainous, hilly places as well for people to get to. So they do have difficult terrain. And I was looking on the platform, for example, there are some places cars and motorbikes do not get to. You take materials by car up to a certain point, and later points you now go by other means of transportation, including mules or animals, including trekking for some distance. So this is not, it happens in so many places. So it's not just look at the surface of it and say there are not so many people after all. And people, when they sometimes criticize and comment on it, they don't take these things into consideration. We all know the state of our roads. Even in your private car, we know how difficult and how many hours it takes to get from one place to the other. And that does not include the side roads. That does not include the more difficult side. We're talking of expressways. You cannot get from Abuja to Lokoja on the dual carriage expressway in 2 hours' time. One time, some people could, even when it was single lane. But these days, you cannot do that. The potholes, the bad state of our roads, and those are the main double carriageway expressway. What of the earth roads?
Absolutely.
We have to be there. There are many communities in these two states, every state in this country, there are many communities. The only federal government presence they have is a polling unit in their place. They don't have electricity. They don't have pipe and water. They don't have lots of things. So on election day, we do lots of things. We're not just an election management and regulatory body. We're a power generating body. Because in many localities, we supply power. We have to charge the laptops, the smart card readers. We have to do these things. So we provide our own electricity, our alternate means of electricity. We power things. So we're a logistics company. We have to do transportation of personnel and materials to all sorts of places that other people will not reach and cannot reach. And we have to deploy security people. The police and security agents have to deploy security people. So that's the presence sometimes. So on election days, the day they feel federal governmental presence in their localities. But we must service these people. They are Nigerians, they are registered, they are entitled to vote and partake in the governance of the country. And as Dr. keeps saying, maybe 4 years' time, maybe things will be different in their localities. These are all considerations we must make. We don't operate in isolation. We operate within an environment with these challenges.
There came a time on a day like this, the incumbency factor permeates the air. But today, the incumbency factor has gone with the wind. You find even a sitting party or a party that is exiting, not very sure, working very, very hard. Is that part of the beauty of democracy, or just what?
Definitely part of it. Sometimes you feel a sense of relief when an incumbent is voted out. You just feel that there's an element of transparency and credibility to that election, because ordinarily the desire of the average incumbent is to continue in office. So, but when he's voted out, you feel that there was credibility in the election. That's why somehow you just feel like that, rightly or wrongly, that the election was credible. But again, it has happened in this country and it will continue to happen. But in some places, you also see that for for some reasons it cannot also happen. You still see manipulation. So it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. There are differences in this regard. But what it tells me is that the fact that it has happened in some places means that it can also happen anywhere. And again, it speaks to the fact that an election should not be easily predictable, because you cannot determine it, as it were. Even in the best of systems, in one of the best of systems, we saw it happen in the United States of America, where there were polls, polls and projections actually failed in the Trump Clinton election, So in our system, we don't do polls, we only make projections, So if these projections fail, it just speaks to the fact that the election may not always be predictable, and probably tells us that, maybe some level of credibility, some level of vote is counting, that the votes are actually counting. And it's not just that people are voting for the sake of it, but the determination of the process is actually at the level of counting of the vote, that somebody has gone somewhere to provide the process. That's not what we want, that's not our desire, really. So if incumbents are being removed on account of failure, on account of non-performance, that is what the PVC empowers us to do, to use our power to determine who rules us for another 4 years. And if it is happening, it means that the PVC is beginning to work.
Okay, let me take on AIG. Where we are now, where you analyze last, as I talked about logistical challenges, and at every step of the way, you have them. Quite critical at this stage now. What would be your word of advice to the electorate as a security expert, where we are now with the elections?
Yes, it still boils down to our earlier position of not really equipping those actors. If everybody knows where their own freedom ends, they will know exactly where to stop. But however, it is still important to let our people know that at the end of the election, defend your vote, watch your vote count ends within the polling unit you did your exercise. You don't have any business moving to the next stage of this election. That is now meant for the ANEC and the security to ensure. So for anyone who is law abiding, who loves the nation, who loves the process, and who is interested in the good of the process, I will encourage them, after finishing where they did their casting of the ballot, they should go back to their home and watch or listen to the result at the end.
We never saw any brandishing of weapons in terms of guns like we used to see before.
On the part of who?
Throughout the elections.
On the part of who?
Security agencies.
Yeah, usually polling arena, firearms are not allowed. So that's why if you watch every polling arena, you don't find policemen carrying guns because it's not allowed. So where you find policemen carrying guns is at the striking location. That is to say, a far distance from that location, in case of anyone coming in to disrupt the process, they can be stopped before they get to that area. So that is why I think it's part of the electoral rules that you don't carry guns within.
Okay, we'll be going to Guinea now, and taking off from here would be the report where we hear that the Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Timothy Silva, cast his vote.
INEC has been progressively improving. Every year, the processes are improved, and I think we have a better outing for INEC. And this election appears to be better than the last election. It has not finished yet. It's not. The jury is not out yet, so it's not time to assess them. But I believe, for what I'm saying, that INEC has improved quite significantly.
government area. So we want you to tell us what motivated you at your age. How old are you?
Yes, 73.
73. Then what motivated you to come out?
Yes, today is very important for everybody because the better person be at the government affair. The benefit of democracy will affect us.
So from Kogi State, sitting governor and candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Governor Yaya Bello, also cast his vote. Let's take a listen to that report.
Before this particular day, up to this election, it has been peaceful. It's very wonderful, and having the cooperation of the state, the umpire, which is the INEC, security agencies, and including the media. Francis, that is very wonderful and very professional reporting. And so far, so good. Reports I'm receiving from various other places have been very, very wonderful and encouraging. INEC has been very excellent, very wonderful exercise so far. And I hope it's going to end in praise. And the good people of this state have more confidence in the umpire, the security agencies, and in the whole process. I thank you.
Well, just to inform the viewer that the reports you're getting are delayed reports that did not come during voting. Elections are over in most centers from the update given us by the INEC representative here, Osaze Uzi, and as we unfold, we'll be going to Lokoja and we'll be going to Yenegwa for updates intermittently. But quickly, let me go to Osaze. What psyche do you put on the key actors during your preparation for these elections on managing issues within the elections and after the elections? What kind of psyche do you put on them?
Well, first of all, we believe and we know that elections in our climes are quite contentious because the stakes are regarded as very, very high. Unfortunately and regrettably, there's still this what is termed do or die mentality. So that's worrisome. And peace building and to us is very, very important. It's one of the reasons why we just also engage stakeholders a great deal. We spend a lot of resources engaging stakeholders. In addition, in these two elections, don't forget, and we should have situated this right from the very beginning, is that neither of these two elections ended with the first ballot 4 years ago. Both Kogi and Bayelsa were inconclusive elections. Why were they inconclusive? Because of disruptions, because of violence. They're both very contentious, but because of violence and disruptions, neither of them ended with first ballot. In fact, Kogi, Bayelsa, if I remember the third, I think, was it the third time? Southern Ijaw, there was even no election in Southern Ijaw. I was in this studio almost 4 years